whole bunch of different Kona coffees. And it's very hard for them to tell the difference between them, so they have to be very careful how they cup them all. Like the temperature of the water has to be exactly the same. We do for each coffee for each farm. Like this is a single farm, they'll do several cups to make sure that they're all identical, and they'll rate them on how different they are. They'll rate them on the characteristics of each one. They're not only tasting the coffee, they're also looking at the coffee. They're trying to judge a lot of different details. Another thing that's kind of odd is they'll do lighter roast, which is common for cupping. It's not a typical, most people won't drink a roast this light. Most roasts you're used to are much darker and a lot of oil, where this is a very light roast that gives it a very unique flavor that's not what most people would think of as a coffee flavor. It's still definitely coffee, but with the darker roast, you're tasting the roast. You're missing a lot of the details of the coffee. With this lighter roast, they can get a lot of those subtle characteristics that we can't get from the light roast. So they'll use it for cupping. They also do the slurp and spit, where when they slurp it, they're trying to cover their whole mouth so they can really get the details of it. And of course, they spit it out afterwards because no human can drink this much coffee all at once. So it smells are very good.
All the way in there.
Yeah, exactly. You get your nose right in there. Another thing they'll do, so they poured the water and they let it steep for like 3 minutes. And then they came and they cut the crust off of each of it, and that releases a bit of aroma right to begin with. Then they scoop out the grounds. Because no one wants grounds in their mouth.
Of course.
And then they'll taste each one. Often they'll go through it a couple different times. But it's important to get that first initial flavor. And they'll taste it a couple different times because the flavor changes as it cools. It's very temperature dependent. So they'll start out when it's really hot, then they'll try it again when it's cooler. Some coffees lose their flavor. They get a lot bitter when they're colder. Kona coffee tends to hold it. It tends to be good at colder temperatures as well as the hotter temperatures. But the profile definitely changes. You can taste different parts of the coffee at different temperatures.
So what's going on here? We're at a cupping for Kona Coffee.
So what we're doing is we're tasting the coffee by spraying the coffee into the back of your mouth and coating your entire mouth, tongue, cheek, everywhere at once, because you have different taste receptors throughout your mouth. And you want to coat them all at once. So the idea is spray it all in there, absorb it, take it in, let it reveal itself, and then spit it out.
Okay. And is there a secret to making that slurping sound? Because I've done it with wine before, but not coffee, and you sound different from a wine.
Yeah, no, I don't think the wine
slurper.
guys do it that way. But it's just a matter of just instantly coating your mouth with the coffee and just having it saturate the entire tongue, all areas at once, so that you can pick up every bit of every little nuance of every individual flavor.
Do you get taste bud fatigue?
Not really. No. You just keep plugging along and occasionally rinse out your mouth with a little water and have a little food after a while, but not really.
Okay. And the water has to be a certain temperature?
It's about 200 degrees.
200 degrees.
Kona profile is a little bit hard to nail down because it's, everything's a little bit different. There's a general consensus to what it is, but there's no legal definition of what a Kona profile is. So there's a lot of judgment involved in that, a lot of personal opinion to what it is. Plus, as you can see with the coffee, there's a big variety in one Kona coffee to the next. So just because it was grown in Kona doesn't necessarily make it good, and just because it doesn't meet that Kona profile doesn't make it bad. So they're judging the coffee along with all their normal characteristics they're looking for, and obvious defects and everything else they'll pull out of the coffee. In addition to that, they're trying to match it against other Konas specifically, as opposed to other coffee from anywhere else.
How long do you have to be practicing this before you're
they've done
a
this
master cupper?
They've done this for years. I don't think I could ever,
30 years,
John's
really?
been doing this cupping specifically for 15, a long time.
Wow.
So, and it's not just the cupping. You do this almost every day, right?
Yeah, that's
Exactly. So imagine how many gallons of coffee has gone through his mouth.
Wow.
It takes a lot of practice. It doesn't just take, there's a qualification requirements, like Q Cupper training, where they'll go through a test, very fine details, subtle tasting characteristics that most people, I don't think I could pass the test. Even with a lot of practice, I probably couldn't pass the test. In addition to that, they also have a lot of practice. You know, these judges in particular that are all professionals, they do this every day, not necessarily competition, but they taste a lot of coffee on a daily basis. So they can taste subtle differences that the average person can't.
That slurp. It sounds like a steamer.
You really want to get it in your whole mouth. Which, and another important part about the way they're not drinking coffee, and that's an important thing to remember. I don't care if they like the coffee or not. What he likes might be different than what I like. So I'm not interested in his personal opinion. I want to know the specific characteristics of the coffee. So they aren't here drinking it, because when you drink something, you tend to have, it's more of a personal experience. And it also becomes routine. Like I have a cup of coffee every morning. If that cup is a little different, it's kind of shocking to me. But I'm not necessarily paying attention to the details of it. By cupping like this, it's not drinking. It's a very different experience. And by taking them out of the regular routine, it lets them get into a different mindset where they're focused on the details of the coffee rather than just enjoying a cup of coffee.
Cool.
So it's important that they go through a different methodology. It's very specific, very detail-oriented,